Instant and free guide to Cambridge GCE A Level Economics. Day 2 of 13. Now we start Day 2.
To master it efficiently, got Night 2 also and learn around the clock. And don't give up your sleeping time either.
Day 2. The price system. Demand. Demand is the willingness and ability to buy a product.
Demand. Influenced by price. Disposable income. Price of related products. Tastes and fashion. Population size. Age structure. Advertising.
Demand curve. Demand curve shows the quantity demanded for a product at different prices.
Demand curve. Movement along a demand curve, change in the price of the product. Fall in price, rise in demand, A to B. Rise in price, fall in demand, B to A.
Demand curve. Position shift of demand curve, change in any influence on demand other than price. Shift to right, increase in demand. Shift to left, decrease in demand.
Price elasticity of demand. Measure of the responsiveness of demand to a change in price. PED equals 2, percentage change in quantity demanded, over, percentage change in price.
Characteristics of PED. Always negative. But if the negative sign ignored. PED greater than 1, elastic demand. 0 smaller than PED smaller than 1, inelastic demand. PED equals to 1, unitary elasticity of demand. PED equals to 0, perfectly inelastic demand.
Factors affecting PED. Substitutes. Proportion of disposable income. Habit. Luxury or necessity. Urgency.
Implications of PED. Inelastic, rise in price will cause a rise in revenue. Elastic, fall in price will cause a rise in revenue.
Income elasticity of demand. Measure of the responsiveness of demand to a change in income. YED equals 2, percentage change in quantity demanded, over, percentage change in income.
Characteristics of YED. Usually positive. YED greater than 1, luxury goods. YED smaller than 0, inferior goods.
Factors affecting YED. Substitutes of higher quality and higher price. Desirable or not.
Implications of YED. Mainly produce normal goods as income usually rises. Produce a few inferior goods to protect from the risk of recession.
Cross-elasticity of demand. Measure of the responsiveness of demand for one product to a change in the price of another product. XED equals 2, percentage change in the quantity demanded for another product, over, percentage change in the price of one product.
Characteristics of XED. Positive, a rise in the price of one product will result in an increase in demand for the other product. The other product is a substitute.
Characteristics of XED. Negative, a rise in the price of one product will result in a decrease in demand for the other product. The other product is a complement.
Factors affecting XED. More positive for closer substitutes. More negative for closer complements.
Implications of XED. Identification of substitutes. Find out the complements of a product and offer reduced prices if bought together.
Supply. Supply is the ability and willingness to sell a product.
Supply. Influenced by price, cost of production, advances in technology, indirect taxes, subsidies.
Supply curve. Supply curve shows the quantity supplied for a product at different prices.
Supply curve. Movement along a supply curve, change in the price of the product. Fall in price, fall in supply, A to B. Rise in price, rise in supply, B to A.
Supply curve. Position shift of supply curve, change in any influence on supply other than price. Shift to right, increase in supply. Shift to left, decrease in supply.
Price elasticity of supply. Measure of the responsiveness of supply to a change in price. PES equals to percentage change in quantity supplied over percentage change in price.
Characteristics of PES. Always positive. PES greater than 1, elastic supply. 0 smaller than PES smaller than 1, inelastic supply. PES equals to 1, unitary elasticity of supply. PES equals to 0, perfectly inelastic supply.
Factors affecting PES. Can be stored. Difficulty to produced. Time. Factory produced or not.
Equilibrium price and quantity. A market is in equilibrium when demand and supply are equal, at A. No reason for price, P, or quantity, Q, change at this point.
Equilibrium price and quantity. If demand exceeds supply, shortage, price go up so that demand and supply are again equal.
Equilibrium price and quantity. If supply exceeds demand, surplus, price go down so that demand and supply again equal.
Effects of changes in supply and demand on equilibrium price and quantity. Increase in demand, rise in price, rise in supply. Decrease in demand, fall in price, fall in supply.
Effects of changes in supply and demand on equilibrium price and quantity. Increase in supply, fall in price, rise in demand. Decrease in supply, rise in price, fall in demand.
Application of demand and supply. Economists make predictions about changes in market conditions. Governments consider effects of taxes and subsidies. Business decide on production and prices of products.
Customer surplus and producer surplus. Customer surplus, difference between what consumers are willing to pay for a product and what they actually paid. Represented by the area below the demand curve and above the price line, area PAB.
Customer surplus and producer surplus. Fall in price, rise in consumer surplus. Rise in price, fall in consumer surplus.
Customer surplus and producer surplus. Producer surplus, difference between what firms are willing and able to sell a product for and what they are paid. represented by the area above the supply curve and below the price line, area PAB.
Customer surplus and producer surplus. Fall in price, fall in producer surplus. Rise in price, rise in producer surplus.
Prices rationing and allocative mechanisms. Rise in demand, rise in price, incentive to supply more. Products will be sold to those who can afford the market price.
Prices rationing and allocative mechanisms. Changes in price should ensure that no products being unsold. No consumers who are willing to pay the market price will be unable to purchase the product.